If you've ever grown tomatoes and felt like you were doing everything right, good soil, watering, sunshine, yet still ended up with weak plants or disappointing harvests, this story is for you. Today on Soil Stories, I want to take you back to a forgotten gardening breakthrough from the Soviet era, a method that quietly produced massive tomato harvests long before fertilizers, hybrid hype, or flashy gardening products took over. This is not a gimmick, it's not complicated, and once you understand it, you'll never plant tomatoes the same way again. This forgotten technique is often called the Soviet tomato method, or more specifically, the Maslov method, named after Russian engineer and gardener Igor Maslov. It's simple, soil-centered, and shockingly effective, and yet most modern gardeners have never heard of it. Let's dig in. To understand this method, you have to understand the mindset behind it. Soviet-era gardeners didn't have access to endless fertilizers, commercial composts, or chemical shortcuts. They relied on biology, observation, and soil behavior. Every method had to work with minimal inputs and harsh conditions. This is where Maslov's method goes even further, and, honestly, where modern gardeners really miss out. As tomato plants grow, they send out long side shoots. Most advice tells us to prune these suckers aggressively, but Soviet gardeners did the opposite. They allowed some side shoots to grow long enough to gently bend them down and partially bury them in the soil. Just like the main stem, these buried shoots developed their own roots. Suddenly, one tomato plant became several interconnected root systems, feeding a single, fruit-producing structure. The result? A tomato plant that behaves more like a living network than a single stem. More roots mean more nutrients, more resilience, and, well, dramatically higher yields. So, if this method works so well, why don't we hear about it today? The answer is uncomfortable. Modern gardening culture favors speed, convenience, and products. Vertical planting fits neatly into cages, raised beds, and commercial systems. Horizontal planting looks messy. It doesn't sell tools. It doesn't require additives. And, perhaps most importantly, it demands trust in soil biology rather than control over plants. As gardening shifted toward industrial efficiency and packaged solutions, methods, like Maslov's, quietly disappeared, despite being perfectly suited for home gardeners. Ironically, this old Soviet method may be more relevant today than ever before. With rising fertilizer costs, unpredictable weather, and declining soil health, gardeners need techniques that build resilience from the ground up. The Soviet tomato method does exactly that. It improves soil structure, encourages microbial activity, and reduces the need for constant feeding and watering. For beginners, it removes pressure. The plant becomes more forgiving of mistakes. For experienced gardeners, it unlocks yield potential without adding complexity. And for anyone who believes healthy soil is the real foundation of gardening, this method feels like coming home. While the method is simple, it works best when you respect the plant's biology. Tomatoes planted horizontally need loose, well-draining soil. Compacted ground can limit root expansion. Overwatering early on can slow establishment. Sow deep but infrequent watering works best. Also, not every sucker needs to be buried. Choose strong, healthy shoots and give them space. This method works with intention, not chaos. Most importantly, resist the urge to overmanage. The whole point of the Soviet method is letting tomatoes express their natural growth habits. Beyond tomatoes, this forgotten technique teaches a deeper lesson, one that sits at the heart of soil stories. Plants are not fragile machines. They are adaptive systems designed to work with soil, microbes, moisture, and gravity. When we stop forcing plants into unnatural forms and start supporting their instincts, the garden becomes easier, more productive, and more alive. The Soviet tomato method isn't just about tomatoes, it's about humility, about listening, about trusting the intelligence already present in the soil beneath our feet. If you try this method even once, I promise it will change the way you see tomatoes, and possibly the way you see gardening as a whole. It's a reminder that some of the most powerful solutions aren't new, trendy, or expensive. They're simply forgotten. If you found this story helpful, inspiring, or eye-opening, make sure you subscribe to Soil Stories for more forgotten methods, soil wisdom, and practical gardening knowledge that actually works. Share this with a fellow gardener who's tired of struggling tomatoes. And let's bring powerful soil-based techniques back where they belong. Until next time, Keep your hands in the soil, and your curiosity alive.